Welcome all. Today we will be discussing the character of Belinda in The Rape of the Lock. Now, as you know that her character is very much important for the sake of examination also. Now, Alexander Pope has designed The Rape of the Lock as the representative works of the 18th century by depicting Belinda as the model of the common fashionable ladies of his time. She is the chief attraction and she becomes the heroine of it. She is the only leading character can be found in the poem. Yet her screams and the flashes of lightning from her eyes are compared to those of an epic hero, as we know that the Rape of the Lock is a mock epic. Now, there are some of the features, some of the uh, characteristics that I have written here. These are the characteristics, these are the findings of the character Belinda. Pope actually has presented Belinda as a complex character. He has presented her in different roles under different shades. And the character of Belinda has created actually originally much controversy since the publication of the poem. Now, some critics considers her treatment fair, while others critics consider that the portrayal of Belinda was unfair. However, the reality lies in between these two findings, two extremes, and we can discuss her character under these following heads that I have shared with you in the screen. As I have already said that she is the heroine of the story. The first point is heroine of the poem. So it is her character around whom the story of the whole poem is created, is built up. We see her sleeping till noon and her awakening by her lapdog shock. So we are actually present at her toilet, her room, and we watch the progress of the sacred rites of pride. After that, we see her proceedings from the Thames River to the Hampton Court. Her smiling looks upon the well-dressed youths that crowds her, etc., are described in the poem. In short, she is the main character and the heroine of the poem. Now, Miss Arabella Farmer, you know that the poem was initiated to patch up a quarrel between two families. We have already discussed this. So it is through Belinda the poet laughs at the follies of female sex, and Belinda is really the Miss Arabella Farmer in real life. She was an acknowledged beauty of that time, of her time when Pope wrote this poem. Her different portraits show two locks of hair that actually rests on her shoulder, on the shoulder of Arabella Farmer. See, these two locks are the same that we find in Belinda's character, and this poem is all about the raping of these two locks by Lord Peter. So we can say that there is a kind of reference to the originality. Now, wit, beauty, and poetry, she is the creation of all these things. Now, she wakes up at 12, and the first thing which grabs her attention is a love letter. Then she paints and decorates her with diamonds, ornaments, perfumes, puffs, powder, patches, etc., etc. And after that, she went out for the conquest of lovers, Hampton Court, etc., etc. Now, her smiles are sunny, her manners are polished, her eyes are large. She goes for sail and then to Hampton Court, and she also participates in different fun-making activities. Then her locks are raped by the Baron. Now she fights with the help of Snap, Botkin, and other things. Her party triumphs, but she is unable to regain her lost locks. And she is also an object of mockery and adoration. Belinda is both object of ridicule and beauty, which compel admiration. As a representative of the aristocratic class of 18th century, she is mocked at in every words, in every sentence, in every line of the poem. But as a beautiful and charming lady, she deserves special admiration. We can say that on the one hand, she is mocked at the same time, on the other hand, she is praised as a woman of beauty and charm. So she is a kind of mixture, an object of mockery and also of adoration. She is almost presented as goddess of beauty and goddess of youth, etc. Now, the most important thing that the number 5, she is the representative of her class. Belinda represents lady farmer of real life, whom Lord Peter made angry by cutting her lock. Now, Lord Peter in the poem is represented by the Baron, and both the families of Farmer and Peters were, we know, in a quarrel to each other, but they were friendly. Both the families were actually friendly to Pope. Pope would not have been able to bringing them close to each other if he had not presented them satirically through the poem. Therefore, as an individual, Pope praised them, but in the full-fledged version, he actually mocked at them. Belinda and Lord Peter appeared to Pope as typical representative of their class, and he satirizes them. And in this way, she becomes the central character of the poem, the heroine. Okay. As you saw that from the opening lines, it immediately becomes clear that Belinda is the central character. She is the heroine of this mock epic. Here, in the beginning, she is given a place which is higher than any others. She is both the end and also the means of the poem. She is described as in a status of the goddess of charm and beauty, and her character represents degradation of aristocratic class, degradation of aristocratic families of the 18th century. This makes her character larger than other characters of the poem. The first thing that Pope tells us about Belinda is a ravishing, dazzling beauty. When she opens her eyes, brightness of her eyes seem to eclipse the sun itself. So, this metaphor suggests the dazzling beauty of Belinda. If we want to talk about her habits, Pope has described Belinda's habits in detail. She is a late riser, acts 12 o'clock in a day. She is extremely sophisticated, and she has great love for luxuries, for beauty. It seems she has no other interest in life, only these things. The first thing she does after awakening up is to make up her. That means to decorate herself. So, this is a clear indication of the fact that beautifying herself is like a religious rite for her. Then we can consider the romantic nature. Belinda has a romantic nature. Her journey on the river Thames can be compared with that of Cleopatra in Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. This parallel actually strengthens her romantic nature, gives us the romantic nature. Like Cleopatra, her physical charms makes even religious things irrelevant. She wears a lively and agile look in her eyes and on her face, which reveals the intelligence, brilliance of her mind. So, these things are important. She is happy, and she is courteous to everyone, gives pleasing gestures to all. She sheds her smiles on everyone who comes to her as the sun shades its warmth on everyone, everybody, everything in the world. Her physical charm is captivating and can shake the faith of anyone. So, this is her romantic nature, but she is a shrewd coquette. Belinda is a true representative of the vices found in her class, in the aristocratic class. None of them is serious. Uh, none. I mean to say that nothing is serious in his life. She reveals to us her shrewdness, her coquetry, as the young lady of the time, like Belinda, is described as moving toy shop. Their hearts are actually moving toy shops. Now she is blind with a sense of arrogance, and above all, Alexander Pope wants to present her as an embodiment of self deception. But she is an emotional being. She is excessively joyful in the victory and greatly tearful in sorrow. These two things we have seen in the Hampton Court. When Baron succeeds in cutting her lock of Belinda, the lock of Belinda, Belinda shows the extreme of being sorrowful and tearful, etc., etc. And we find her extremely joyful, in her victory on the game of Umber. She, in Belinda, spiritual lackness is quite visible, is quite evident. She, just like all aristocratic ladies of her time, is more careful about personal reputation rather than any kind of spiritual sacredness. She is hardly aware of her soul, and she is only sentimental. So we can say that she has no sense of moral integrity. Therefore, the moral bankruptcy of these kinds of ladies is further ridiculed, again and again ridiculed in the poem. So, if we want to conclude, we can say that the Rape of the Lock is a mockery of the manners of the teacup times of Queen Anne, Queen of the time. Now, here Pope seeks to throw light upon the fickle-minded, fashionable ladies of the 18th century England, depicting Belinda as the representative character. So, these are the mainly things that I want to share with you about Belinda.